Let's start with that question. Maybe Blaine Fowler can add his opinion to this, who joins us in Studio B, national champion quarterback and very handsome man.
Wow.
In Studio B.
Gosh, I'm flying the colors today, too.
Yeah, the white, baby.
That's what I was making reference of.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
hey, I agree with the. I'm going to pick one.
Last season that they extended.
I think the biggest where they've overachieved what everybody thought was Sark's senior year, 96, because during his junior year he was figuring it out. I thought they were going to be good going into his senior year because of one game. Fresno State game, he comes out at the end of the year, and he just is ridiculous.
31 of 34.
And he completed like his first 20 balls or something. I can't remember the exact number, but about 20 balls he completed. And I remember going, whoa, the light bulb just went on. Like it just went on. He gets this offense. And now that that's the case, he's back, and you looked at who was coming back, the tight ends that were coming back, the guys they had on the O-line coming back.
The running backs
that you were going, oh, if he gets it, they're going to be scary good next year. Well, nobody, followed him close enough to think that, and they go into that next season, and they were really good. That may be, from a talent perspective and the way, they lost that game against Washington, but that was as good a team as BYU's ever had. And I think that they overachieved because nobody knew what to expect.
They're in the conversation of greatest BYU team. Like there's an argument for them against 84, which is probably another day's conversation.
So nobody was saying going into that season, hey, this could be one of the greatest BYU teams in history. And we always talk about them. We always talk about them. We talk about 84. We talk about 96. We talk about, the start when Brandon Doman and Luke were healthy all the way through. That was an unbelievable team until health caught up with them at the end of the season after 10 games. But we talk about the most talented teams ever, and that's right up there, right? I think the 80 team with Jim McMahon at quarterback when he was a junior that beat SMU from a talent perspective has got to be in that top 3 or 4
Didn't
as well.
79 go undefeated and lose in the Holiday Bowl?
They missed a field goal that would have had an undefeated season.
Yeah,
that's the most underrated team in BYU history.
There you go. I think you're right. Yeah. I think you're right. And Steve Young's senior year,
you lose to Baylor at the beginning of the
year.
In
a game that you shouldn't lose.
All the rest of the games.
And then you go out and they lose on a touchdown bomb at the end of the game. Hey, play a little prevent. We always say, hey, don't prevent yourself from losing. They just needed to play prevent. And I shouldn't say they. I was standing.
I was like, you're on the team, man.
We should have won that game. That should have been an undefeated season. And it ended up being a top 10 team. Unbelievably talented team when you look at the guys that went from that team into the National Football League. Same with 84. So...
Okay, this is really intriguing now that we've set that up of which teams have exceeded expectations, and now we're talking about, is this 2016 team, for the general consensus, overrated or underrated right now in your opinion?
It's funny because it depends on who I talk to. I talk to some people that go, oh, man, if they could just be 3-3 to start out with these first 6 games. There's not much that you can expect. And I talk to others, and they go, there isn't any reason why BYU shouldn't be 6-0 in the first 6 games.
Okay.
So now,
give these people the blue goggles.
I need to give them
Blaine.
these, right?
Yeah,
they need these. 6-0. And you know what I tell those folks? I tell those folks, you know what? If Alabama were to play the first 6 games that BYU plays, with the road schedule that they have, they'd likely be 4-2. Alabama doesn't go and play that schedule. No. They never do. None of those teams do. If Michigan State played that schedule, they'd probably be 4-2.
Any team in the country, Blaine.
Yeah, so this is what
the
people that tell me the
6-0.
Yeah, well, they need double. This is a 6-0 group. But hey,
really big glasses.
You wish for a magical season. You never know.
Yes.
BYU's talented enough to beat every team on their schedule this next year. They're big, they're fast, they're strong, but there's a lot of question marks. So I don't know how to rate them right now. I think 4-2 would be fantastic.
Oh my goodness!
In those first 6 games, and if they're that, then we're going to start talking about, can this be a special season? 4-2, we're going to talk about, can this be a special season? But I think they're really, really talented, but they're running a brand new offense. They're running a brand new defense. They're running brand new special teams. I love the talent. I love the chemistry of this team, but we're going to have to see how they play.
How will that translate on the field? All of that stuff looks good, but how does it translate on the field?
Yeah.
Joining us now in Studio B is Blaine Fowler. Now, in What's Trending, we discussed 4 lines on 4 different BYU games put out by some Vegas odds makers. BYU, a 1.5-point favorite against Arizona. Utah, 7.5-point underdog is BYU. Boise State, BYU is an 11.5-point dog, and Utah State at home was a 1-point favorite. Now we're hearing it's moved up to 6.
Yeah, because as soon as that happened, everybody started putting money on one side. That changed really, really fast. That one was not right. I'll tell you, it's interesting to me. The Boise State one, people may say, wow, that's really surprising. But anybody that watched Boise State in the Poinsettia Bowl roll up over 600 yards of total offense, they looked really good. And their quarterback's playing at a high level. Rippon, he's back. McNichols, their running back, is back. The Spurbeck, their really big-time wide receiver. They have 9 returning starters on offense, on an offense that in the second half of the year was just rolling and one of the top in the country. So I think that line is based on that's what they got coming back. They're playing them at home. They know what BYU, has struggled up there a bit historically. And so I don't think that that's, for right now, a crazy line. Now, and the other thing is, look at the schedule that BYU plays rolling into that.
Exactly.
And now they got to prepare for that offense on a short week. That's why the line is what it is. Now, that line's going to change if BYU comes out and they are really, really good early on in the season and they stay healthy.
It doesn't help that I believe, and any Boise State person out there that may hear this can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Boise State is undefeated in Friday night games on that field.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. And so now here's the thing. Here's the chink in the armor. Boise State has 4 returning starters coming back on defense. So they got a complete rebuild on defense. And BYU, I feel, is going to be really explosive on offense. They've got great quarterbacks coming back and depth at that position. Jamal Williams is back and healthy. They've got depth at running back. They're really good at wide receiver, and I think they're going to be better up front, and it really helps that Tijon's back. And so now all of a sudden BYU's really good on offense, and Boise State's going to have only 4 returning starters on defense. Could this be one of those high-scoring fun games like the old days?
All right.
It could be fun. But that one, it's not as crazy as people might think. The line for now is not as crazy as people think. I'll tell you the one. Utah, to me, so you lose Travis Wilson, you lose Devontae Booker. So are the Williamses, Troy, and Joe going to be able to replace those guys? JC transfer at quarterback. Whenever you don't have a returning quarterback, I wonder. And so here Utah comes back without that. They lose 2 really good NFL caliber linebackers in Gianni Paul and Jared Norris. And here's maybe the biggest loss on that team. They don't have Paul Hackett back next year. Paul Hackett has won more games individually for that football team. Tom Hackett, sorry.
He may have won the Vegas Bowl on that fake punt.
He's won he's won a dozen games.
It was more than that, but that was a big play.
He controlled field position, and so Tom Hackett is probably as big a loss as more than Travis Wilson, as much as Devontae Booker. How do they replace him?
Pretty wild idea. Yeah.
Utah's special teams have been tops in the country the last several years.
No question.
With him, and then how about Britton Covey going on a mission? He changed the game for them there. So their special teams are going to take a big, big hit next year. So that Utah game, that's the one everybody asks me about. Can BYU beat Utah next year? And I go, yeah, absolutely. If I look at who's coming back, it's going to be a great game because Utah's always going to be good on defense.
Their defensive front's going to be crazy.
But they've got a lot to learn about themselves on offense and special teams. That's absolutely a game that BYU should be able to match up and win.
Do you think that BYU goes to Arizona and wins that game to open the season?
Depends on which Anu Solomon shows up for Arizona. And it's not just is he healthy or not, because it's the first game of the season, so he's going to be healthy. But you look at it and you go, when he is healthy, some games he's phenomenal. Some games you can't stop him. He's running all over the place. He's throwing BBs all over the yard. The completions everywhere, and you're going, wow, how do you stop Solomon? Other games, even when he's healthy, he's inaccurate. He's missing receivers, and he's not looking that good. So I think BYU matches up really well with Arizona. But Anu Solomon is one of the players in college football that if he's just hotter than hot, he's hard to slow down. So that makes that a really intriguing, fun first matchup.
Okay, we'll finish with this because I teased it. Which team do you have higher expectations for next year, BYU football or BYU basketball?
Because of the schedule. Now, I know the basketball team plays a solid schedule, too, to start. But because it's a new offense, a new defense, new special teams, I love the talent. But because of that crazy schedule, I think BYU's basketball team is going to be ranked faster than BYU's football team. And I think the basketball team takes a step forward. Now, let me take a jump 2 years out. Both of these teams are top 15 teams.
Whoa!
Basketball and football. Because so next year's going to be really fun, folks. But 2 years from now, when all the return missionaries on basketball have got a year under their belt and they're rolling, and when this is the second season for Kalani with all the guys they have, remember Tanner's still here, all those guys, 2 years from now we're back at Camelot at BYU.
Whoa! You heard it here first.
I love it.
Bring in the heat.
We need to clip that off and send it to the masses.
Our students are working on that right now.
Blaine, always great to talk to you, man.
All right, guys.
Never disappointing when Mr. Fowler comes to Studio B.